tonight. Let's just get on very quickly. We've got a whole lot of grounds to cover because a rocket week of actions from Nigeria's new administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. That's coming to an end tonight on Market Day. The stock market roared as the currency flotation announcement hit the wires. Mr. President also in the week announced 8 special advisors, 4 of which are in core economic and financial market space. Johnson Chukwu has been watching the market week, and he joins me live now on the show to put it all in perspectives. It's a TGIF tonight, I'm sure. Thank God it's Friday, isn't it? I'm sure you folks made billions of naira on the stock market this week. And don't tell me you didn't make money this week, Johnson. Talk to me.
Well, Bossy, thank you for having me. In the first place, the market gained about 5.4% this week. So anybody who traded wisely or traded technically must have made some money. Even if you take a basket of all the stocks on the exchange and you bought all the stocks on the exchange, you should have made about 5.4%. But if you were wise in your choice of stocks, you should have done better than that. Of course, you could also have traded on the wrong side of the market and you may have lost money. But I think on average, the market did quite well in the outgoing week at about 5.4% gain.
So we're going to say thank you to Mr. President for putting some money on the table for you investors and market professionals in the current week. But what do you make, broadly speaking, of the business week, those various announcements coming out of Mr. President on the currency side, on the economy, and so on? What do you make of it all?
Yeah, interestingly, Bosin, the president has made 2 announcements that excited the market. The first was the removal of the petroleum subsidy, which was made, I think, almost about 2 weeks ago. And the second was the announcement this week of the harmonization of exchange rate. And those are what virtually you will bear me witness that I've spoken extensively on both issues. So market was quite excited that those announcements have been made. Of course, the announcement is one leg of the issue, which is why you saw market gain 2 days this week and began to decline the second 2 days of this week. Because apart from the excitement of those announcements, which are significant policy shift in the economic space, the issue about the heavy lifting, the major work, like they tell you, the devil is in the detail. The major work that has to be done to make sure that these policies actually have salutary effect on the economy, that the intended purposes of these policies are achieved. It is not just enough that we now harmonize the exchange. There are a couple of things that need to be done. We need to address the issue of supply. It's very critical to make sure you have stability in your exchange rate. And that's why markets, after the excitement, is actually settling down to the realities of the weaknesses around the economy and what needs to be done and what the new government needs to do to ensure that this policy does not lead to some dislocation in the economy, or that dislocation that we are setting with these policies are actually handled timeously, and that ultimately we achieve the intended objective of liberalizing the foreign exchange market as well as liberalizing the downstream oil and gas sector.
But again, who are the net buyers and sellers on the market this week on the equity side? Local investors, foreign investors, what did you see?
Well, in the meantime and in the foreseeable future, the market participants or the major traders in the market will remain the local market, local investors. The simple reason is that, like I said, apart from the announcement, the second thing we need to do is the issue of funding of the market. Of course, the central bank will remain a market maker in the forex market because the central bank will continue to receive about 90% of foreign exchange earnings. The structure of foreign exchange revenue is not likely going to shift in the next few months. So what will happen is that people are also conscious of the fact that, look, the central bank must have the wherewithal to meet the arrears of unmet demand in the market. Part of those arrears are due to foreign portfolio investors who have been trying to exit after they've sold their naira assets. And until they exit, until liquidity is provided in the market, the FX market, and they can access funding at the new exchange rate and they exit, you should not expect a deluge of foreign investors coming into the market. So in the meantime, what is happening is that local investors are taking position with the expectation that in the near future, foreign investors will come. But as at now, we still don't have those foreign investors. The foreign investors in the market will first want to exit those who have slowed down their portfolios and have been trying to assist FX in the market so that they can exit and cover up their positions offshore. So that once that is done, And then we see what I may call a show of strength by the central bank, that they have the financial muscle, they have the war chest to meet demand. Then foreign investors will want to come, because nobody wants to come and get trapped in the market. In as much as we have a liberalized foreign exchange market, we must have enough supply to clear demand.
Yeah, we should have that. But again, the central bank is not intervening in the RIE window anymore. So it's a free buyer, free sellers market as you have in the stock market. So the exchange does not intervene. You've got to find volume. You've got to find liquidity. You need a float in the market. I'm sure you understand that. I'm sure you know that too well. So that float is where the question is right now as far as the flotation of the RIE window is concerned, isn't it? That float.
Yeah, but see, that is a desired destination. That is not where we are today. Where we are today, the central bank will remain a market maker in the foreign exchange market. The willing buyer, willing seller window has been created. So you're going to see a trickling of capital flow into the economy from private investors, from Nigerians in diaspora. But that trickle will still remain a trickle for some time. So, but the key thing you have to look at is this. What are the major sources of cash flow or foreign capital flow into the economy? It is largely from sale of crude and sale of liquefied natural gas. So both of them account for close to 90% of our foreign exchange earnings. And the central bank is the recipient of this flow from sale of crude. So that means the central bank will remain a market maker. As at now, until we get to a point where we have diversified foreign exchange earning sources, where we have multiple export products, and then the banks are recipients of the export earnings. That's when you are going to get to a point where you have willing buyer, willing seller, offer and sell bids that will be such so sufficient that you have what you call a near perfect market. But today you're not going to have a near perfect market. You have a duopoly at best, but largely more of a monopolistic market where the central bank is the key market player, key market maker. So until such time, as it stands today, the central bank will remain a determinant of the exchange rate. But beyond that, elsewhere in the world, the central banks are always the reserve bank. That's why some countries call them reserve bank. What that means is that the central bank is the one that is the lender of last resort, the one that defends the currency. There's no country in the world where the currency floats freely. Everywhere in the world, the central bank will weigh into the market to stabilize the exchange rate within a particular bracket. It's either they are selling to ensure that the market does not, the currency does not strengthen too much, or they are buying to make sure that the currency does not weaken too much. And that we expect the central bank to continue to play in the near future.
That's why it's called that's why it's called currency management, isn't it? It's called currency management. You manage it. That's what it is. That's what it's called.
That's one of the core rules of the central bank.
That's the core rule. But again, you've seen the market rally this week. Do you think this initial knee-jerk rally is fading out? What's next?
Well, I wouldn't really call it a knee-jerk rally, but what I would say is that we saw excitement in the market. Some of the heavy lifting we expected any new president of the country to do has been done. The way it was done is debatable, but whether the policy of deregulating the foreign exchange market, eliminating multiple exchange rates, removing economic rain that has been embedded in the forex market is the appropriate policy. We all agree. There's almost a uniformity of opinion that that's the right thing to do. That's why you saw that excitement. The other announcement I mentioned earlier about deregulating the downstream sector was also something we all expected. So it created excitement. And what happens that after the excitement, then the details have to be worked out. And people are looking forward to those details. How does the central bank have the watches? Does the central bank have the reserve to meet, in the first instance, clear arrears of unmet demand? Two, does the central bank have the reserve to ensure that the market, the exchange rate trades within a particular bracket? So you have some stability in the exchange rate. It doesn't matter whether it's going to be at 750 or 600 or 800, but there must be some stability. No currency want to trade in such a gyrating wide band. Because when you do that, you create uncertainty around the economy and people will not want to come into that market. So what people did was, after the excitement, they now said, okay, let's listen to the details. The devil is the details. Do we have the war chest? Does the central bank have the reserve? Are we going to maintain? What kind of range will be with exchange rate trade? What is the band that the central bank has defined? How does it want to intervene in the market? And all those factors are what the market is watching out to. And that's why the market, after the initial excitement, has actually seen some dampening to watch for the details.
All right, so one of the details we had in the week was, what do you think President Tinubu is trying to achieve with the appointment of special advisors for energy, trade and investment, revenue and monetary policy? I haven't seen such special advisors by any Nigerian president before in my entire career. What's President Tinubu up to? Do you have any idea? Do you know?
I think he's sending a message to say he's going to focus a lot more on economy. Focus on energy, even monetary policies, which I think was a misnomer. Because you can't have an advisor on monetary policies, you can have an advisor on fiscal policies, because the monetary policy is the exclusivity of the central bank. Then those areas that he has appointed special advisors are areas I think for me, he's signposting the way he wants to focus on. And that also shows that the emphasis will be on the economy. Of course, we all know that the economy is one of the greatest challenges we have. Social issues we have are all related to the economy. A lot of security issues we have are partly related to the economy. So if you fix the economy, a lot of things will fall into place. And I think he's sending a message that I've selected a group of very vibrant, very intelligent people who I want to seek for their opinion in taking decisions in these areas of Nigeria's economic and social life.
So what do you think will happen, therefore, from these core special advisors? If we talk about monetary policy, energy, trade and investment, and revenue, I'm sure these are some of the areas everyone has been talking about over the last 8 years, want the needle to be moved. So what do you think the cabinet will look like?
Well, the cabinet, that is still left for speculation. I think I spoke with a couple of people who know some of the people who have been appointed as special advisors, and the opinion is that they are people who are worth their salt. And so if that is a barometer to begin to hazard against and quality of people that will populate the cabinet, the executive council, one would say that we should expect good hands to be appointed to those key functions. But the key thing for me is that we have a huge job to do. The economy is in a strait, and that at this point we should have an economic management team, which will most likely be constituted when you have the cabinet constituted. And then there should be what we call collective wisdom. Some of these policies that have been announced should have been thoroughly deliberated on, so that all the ramifications are viewed and measures are put in place to make sure that the negative implication or the negative fallout of some of these policies are nipped in the bud. I think because we don't have that, I don't think a lot of thoroughness have gone into the announcement we've seen, or in terms of the details of implementation. And those are the concerns people like me have. Because if some of the announcements are made, well-intended, well-intentioned, but they must be managed in such a way that they don't, the negative possible side impact do not outweigh the benefits. In the long run, we know in the medium to long run, these policies will make sure we reposition the country and the country's economy for growth, but they have social impact. And those social impacts we need to know. For instance, our economy has now been fully or largely or more closely integrated with the global economy. So what happened in the global economy will reverberate in the Nigerian economy, like what we used, where we had circuit breakers. Circuit breakers were one, our foreign exchange was not market reflective. So if there's a shift in our reserve or anything, we don't feel it. Our oil and gas was not market reflective. So if there was an increase in price of petroleum products globally, we don't feel it. So the average Nigerian will not feel the impact of global impact, or like what happens elsewhere in the world, where increase in crude price affects energy costs globally. So what we are going to see going forward is that if there is a 1% increase in the price of crude, it will lead to an increase in the price of plants, and that will dovetail into increase in the pump price. And that impact on the pump price will affect the average Nigerian household. So, but we don't have social safety nets to cushion the impact of that. Those are the things I think we need to, like I talk about the details, we need to work out so that when there is gyration in the global macroeconomic environment, the safety nets kick in to protect the most vulnerable in the society.
So we're back to the circuit breakers. Okay. Okay, let's talk more about the FX market liberalization at the early window. What is in the securities market side of things in this particular flotation for you?
You know, for us, one of the things about the flotation is that beyond the issues I've mentioned, that we must make sure we have the reserve to make sure that the currency trade within a particular band. Yeah. One of the things about the flotation is that, one, we have eliminated one of the major sources of economic rent and criminal engagement in the country, which is selling FX at a rate that was sub-market price and allowing people to possibly trip those FX sold to them, or at minimum over-invoice because they are getting that benefit. And then creating an uneven playing ground for businesses that effectively kept away most genuine investors from the economy. So we're happy that has been done. What will be the impact of this on investment climate? One, like I said, we are going to have a more level playing ground or level playing field, so that anybody who wants to invest will be competing on competence and efficiency and effectiveness, or operational efficiency. It's no longer a case where you come to the market and invest at 750 naira to $1, and that person goes and invests at 450 naira to $1. There's no way you can compete with such person. If you bring in products you imported as 750 naira to $1, and somebody brought in a product he put at 460 naira to $1, there's no way you can compete. So we are going to have a more even playing field, and that will incentivize genuine business people to come into the country, including local investors, to be more active. And once you have more investment in the economy, you're going to have more productivity. If you have more productivity, you're going to have more activities on the exchange, because more companies, quoted companies, will be more productive. They will actually earn more income. They will have opportunity to invest. They will have opportunity to go to the market and raise more money. So these things will have the multiplier effect. There are other benefits, including the fact that revenues going to the three tiers of government will increase, because now you're going to convert foreign exchange earnings coming to a federation account as about 750 naira, or whatever is the exchange rate, the previous day's closing rate, instead of the artificial 460 naira or so that they were using to convert. So the more three tiers of government are going to get more money. That will allow them to engage more in social and economic investment to improve the welfare and the conditions of the country.
All right, let's see how it goes, because, of course, if you have more naira on the street and you're not so productive, you got to deal with inflation. But again, that's a conversation for another day. We've got to see, so much money has its own side effects. But again, it's been a nice time. It's been a very roller coaster week, so let's lay back and enjoy it. It's a thank God it's Friday. Have a wonderful evening and enjoy your weekend, sir. Johnson Chukwu Group, CEO at Carrier Asset Management. Thank you.